Most games today launch like this, and then a few months later, like magic, everybody's gone. You know the type, fancy schmancy graphics, a gigantic marketing budget, a couple of bugs that completely f***ing break the game, and loot boxes. Sometimes these guys will use that marketing budget to produce amazing cinematic trailers to distract you from the fact that the game plays like shit. This gigantic investment into marketing causes this trend we see where a game sells incredibly well for a little bit until players realize what they've gotten themselves into and decide to jump ship. Some companies do it better and manage to keep players invested for a couple of years before the player base inevitably moves on to greener pastures. But not all games follow this downward trajectory. More people are playing Super Mario 64 now than when it first came out. But an online multiplayer first-person shooter, that is a little bit more complicated. Developers have to keep servers running smoothly, balance out parts of the game as different metas evolve over time, add content so players stay interested, fix bugs that come along with that new content, all while competing with the hot new releases whose graphics are even fancier and schmancier. And it's not enough to just build a good game either. Blizzard built a good game once, and then they updated it a couple of times. And then they fucking banned people from playing the older version and threatened to sue people who hosted its servers. Good games are dying left and right nowadays. Companies are either killing their own game, or working their employees to death, making them burn out, or they're treating their customers like mindless consumers who will buy anything you put in front of them. There's just so many ways a good game can die. It's considered remarkable when a game hits that 4 or 5 year mark and is still pulling in new players. But if 5 years is remarkable, what about 15? What about a game that thrives through 3 different generations of gaming, with other releases coming for its neck trying to take it down, but instead of landing hits, they just make it stronger? What about Team Fortress 2, the Immortal FPS? Today, the day I uploaded this video, actually marks the 15-year anniversary of Team Fortress 2, and it's doing just fine. It's easily getting over 100,000 concurrent players every single hour, consistently staying near the top of the Steam top sellers list. At the time of recording this video, the only other game on the list older than Team Fortress 2 is the 2006 game Garry's Mod, which is the 217th top seller. Clearly, TF2 is an oddity. How do the developers manage that? They must be adding new stuff to the game constantly, working overtime just to keep this thing afloat, right? Well, not exactly. See, there's a running joke in the TF2 community that the only people left working on the game are a potted plant and a janitor at Valve headquarters. There's even a guy on Twitter who posts every day how long it's been since TF2's last major update, and yeah, it's been a while. There's not really anybody steering the ship right now, and that's kind of the point. There doesn't need to be. The developers of the game were very deliberate about giving the players all the tools they need to keep the engines running smoothly even after they left. See, Valve's initial marketing strategy revolved around these animated videos that show off each class's personality and what their role is in the game. They really express what the game is like to play in a fun and engaging way, unlike most other cinematic trailers nowadays which show off, what's the technical term again? Ah, that's right. They show off jack shit about the game. Anyways, Valve couldn't keep pumping out these animations for 15 years. They had to stop at some point. They could have just walked away and called it a day, but they didn't. Valve made these animations within a very powerful animation program they built themselves called Source Filmmaker, and then they gave that entire program to their customers for free. That was a pro gamer move. Source Filmmaker, also known as SFM, was used to make thousands of original creative short movies that would spread all over the internet. From comedies to dramas to music videos, half the time they weren't even about the game. The animators were just using SFM as a tool to express themselves and make cool art. Regardless of the movie's topic though, it would always star TF2's beloved cast of mercenaries, acting as an entry point to get new players introduced to the game and characters, and act as a reminder to old players of how fun it is to run around and smack people with a shovel. Essentially, all a game needs to do to survive is take in more players than it loses. Seems simple, right? These videos helped take in more players, but how could they prevent players from leaving? Surely it would get boring just playing the same old maps and game modes over and over again, right? Yeah, maybe it would get boring. Good thing Valve gave their entire professional level editing software to their customers as well, for free. Now some games do offer level editors, and they're very legendary for doing so by the way, but they're almost always limited to some capacity. You don't usually get all the tools the developer had, and it can feel sometimes like you're just playing with table scraps. This is not so in Team Fortress 2. Are you tired of these old desert theme maps and you want to go play Minecraft Land? You can do that. You want to edit old maps to make them completely f***ing insane? You can do that too. Do you want to build a map from scratch, spending months playtesting and editing it to craft a perfectly balanced and fun original play space for all to enjoy, eventually garnering so much clout that Valve themselves officially adds it to the game in a later update? Yeah, you can do that too. TF2 gives you the power to make your own maps or direct your own movies, which keeps the game fresh and gives players new things to discuss and interact with. This community-made content ensures the game would keep a steady player base for over a decade. Now, obviously the core gameplay and amazing characters are what made this game great, but the community features are what keep this game great. Well, that and the hats.